Baum Chevrolet Buick, your full-service dealer. See us at baumchevybuick.com right from the start.
You're from New Central Illinois, WHOW.
Top of the morning. Thanks for being with us. I'm your host today, Seth Lawrence. The WHOW Morning Show streams to Facebook and YouTube, brought to you by Peterson Insurance, your Pekin Insurance agent in Clinton. My guest in studio this morning is Mr. Jim Peck. He is the principal of Clinton Junior High School. Good to see you, Mr. Peck. How are you, sir?
Seth, I'm doing great. Thanks for having me in.
Thanks for coming out. Good to have you on and talk about the start of school at Clinton Junior High. It's about 8 days of class time in. How's first week and a half?
It's been great. It was a little weird starting on a Monday this year. Our school calendar had moved around a little bit. So getting a full week last week, I think, was a lot for everybody. We all went home a little extra exhausted, kids and staff, but it's really been a good start. Kids are getting into a good routine. So is staff, so I couldn't ask for anything better.
Sure. Very good. Very good. Good groups this year?
Yeah. 3 really good classes.
Cool.
There's little things that always pop up at the beginning, but this year we've kind of, I feel like, avoided a lot of that. It's just everybody's kind of getting into routines, just really trying to get kids to understand, ask questions when you need to, and independence is a huge thing in junior high, especially for the 6th graders that are coming in. So really working on that with them, but it's been a great start.
Sure. Well, let's dive into Mr. Peck. In years past, you and I have talked about a theme that you like to set for your building, your staff, and just part of the culture at the junior high. What's the theme this year?
Yeah, so in the past, we've hit a lot of different things, like learning what your why is, focusing in on working together and trusting. This year, our theme really kind of hits just revolving around all the changes that are going on in the district. But at our building of the junior high, we really have not had a ton of change with administration or staff. But we have a lot of good initiatives that are happening and really have started and are continuing. And so we've dubbed it the work continues this year. We're kind of in a spot with a lot of different things where we've started, whether that's our SEL curriculum last year, moving to a new math curriculum. We've started the work, and you never want to turn around the ship when it's midstream, even when things around you might be going a little bit crazier. We recognize the changes that are happening in the district, but again, in our building, what we're doing, let's keep the ship floating and keep it moving. And that's been a good theme, I think, for us, just to be mindful of that in our building. So this might be a bit of an uncomfortable question, and if you don't want to address it, that's totally cool. But with everything going on, I'm sure there's staff that has friends in other buildings, or maybe even family in other buildings, and sometimes the noise of all of that can drip in just because of those connections. How do you recognize that, but at the same time try to focus on your building, your culture, what you guys are doing? I think we have to recognize that we're all Clinton, we're all Maroons. And I think that's really important. And I think every building staff actually does a really good job of that, and understanding that everybody kind of goes up and down. We have peaks and valleys everywhere. And just because things might be going really well somewhere and maybe we're struggling over here, or this issue has popped up, doesn't mean that that won't happen in other places. We all rely on each other. I think a lot of times when there is change, or when there is strife or struggle going on at places, you mentioned like that family atmosphere. We've got several people in the building that might work in one building and then their spouse works in the other, and I think they lean on each other. So we recognize that even though we are the junior high, we give support to all of our buildings. Our admin team is phenomenal in doing that. You should see our admin group chat. It is always about what's going on over there. Heard this was happening. Do you need help? And I think we lead by that example, and that hopefully then pours into the staff too. So
you mentioned you haven't had a lot of turnover in your leadership, and I don't know how many new teachers you have this year, but it feels like it's always kind of the same stable of teachers, the same mainstays. What do you attribute that to?
I think we Ms. Witz and I really try to create a family in our building, and I think everybody does. We've been lucky that the staff that we have a lot of teachers who were Clinton kids, and then have come back to teach at Clinton. And so they're obviously, we're probably not going anywhere, right? We've built those roots here. We have a lot of teachers who I think have been in a part in their lives where sometimes, they have their own kids, they have things pop up with the family and some of the other buildings, and they've had to make those moves. We've been lucky not to have that. I do think the culture that we've created is trusting. Just looking at some of our survey results, even before district surveys, we always would send out a survey because we really feel like it's important that we have a pulse on where people think we're doing. So that's something our building's done, since we've been working together, Miss Witz and I.
And this is what, year 4 for you guys?
This is year 5 for us together.
Okay.
Actually 7 for me. And nine in the building if you count my 2 assistant principal years. So I just think that consistency is important. The assistant principal position, we've been lucky. In a lot of places, it's not somewhere that people stay very long. But like Mr. S at the high school stayed a long time. Miss Witz has too. We've set down our roots and we want to be here. And I think our staff feels that. So
for sure.
You mentioned 2 new teachers. We do have 2 this year. So I just want to highlight them.
For a staff of your size, that's really not a big number.
Right. We've been lucky where usually it's been due to retirements. And so this year, Mrs. Walker retired and she was our 8th grade English teacher. Amber Obermeyer was her student teacher last year and is actually a Clinton kid as well. And so we were able to hire her. It's been a great transition. And then Mr. Hendricker left from band and chorus. He'd been here for a long time. And actually he had a student teacher. Mr. Wheeler had a student teacher last year, Allison Richards. So we hired her. So it's been nice to have those connections with local colleges. We get good people to be in our buildings. And that's kind of like you're in an interview all year. And they had a chance to impress and we're glad to have them. So.
Yeah, for sure. Kind of just developing your own in that way. Yep. Yeah, absolutely. Very nice. Well, one of the things we haven't touched on in a long time, Mr. Peck, is just the opportunities at the junior high school. Just so many between the extracurriculars, the programs within the curriculum. How about some of that?
Yeah, we've talked about it a lot. When I take people through the junior high, one of the first things I do is I show them our extra spaces, our fax room, our shop, go into our art room, our full art studio there. We've added some things this year. Kristen Wilson, who's our 6th grade math teacher, came with an idea about a drones class and kind of using that coding in math to then focus on like how things move with drones and spheros. And then what does that open up in terms of like, jobs that are available and connecting our kids with the community and people who might use that for their work. So that's been an elective we've added. So it's just another opportunity for our kids to see something new. We've still got our 8th grade forensics class with Mrs. McMath. She's been doing that for a long time. And so when people ask why I come to Clinton, why if I've got a 6th grader and I'm looking at Clinton or another place, that's one of the first things is I showed them is just here's some opportunities that I know in other districts there may not be out there or created yet. I feel like we've got people that really try to look forward at what's coming and what can impact our kids. So.
Yeah. You've got an FFA program and that's not something a lot of junior high buildings can say they have. And that's really, to me, that's a really big opportunity.
Yeah. I think if you know Clinton, agriculture is huge. And that high school program has been going strong for a long time. At the junior high, we've had a really good program. The last couple of years and kids that are just really interested in being a part of it. I think yesterday when they were kind of going over their yearly accomplishments, several of those award winners were junior high kids. We've had a couple that have gone on to the high school, but I think there's some strong agriculture families who really kind of know those opportunities and have been helping our kids get involved into that. So that's just another one too. That's been important.
Along the same lines, the Skills USA junior high chapter. Yeah.
Mrs. Knapp and Mr. Knapp have really done some great things with that. We've had groups go to the national conference in Atlanta the last couple of years, come home with some big awards, and it really just gives our kids an opportunity to shine in a different way. Right. I won't say a student name, but we had a kid last year who I think kind of struggled getting plugged into stuff and found Skills USA and just took off both in just the things they were wanting to do, the maturity they were showing, and accomplishments. And so it just really helps build that confidence for our kids.
How much does getting involved, you said the word maturity, that made me wonder, how much does a student getting involved help them mature at such an instrumental age of junior high school?
I think it's really important because, I think back to when we were kids playing sports, like you get into that school atmosphere, and that's maybe some of the first times you have that real responsibility of you have to remember the things you need for practice and your shoes for your game. But then like communicating bus times with parents and knowing that I've got practice each night and I've got to balance my school with that. You could build some of those things in at a younger age, but really it hits in junior high. And so I think whether it's sports or Skills USA, FFA, just being involved in something outside and having that extra responsibility kind of pushes that maturity a little bit quicker than not being involved. And then I think the connections that you make with your peers in those atmospheres is just really, really important.
For sure. Yep, no doubt. Very good. Well, on that note, Mr. Peck, I tell you, let's go ahead and take a break. We're going to come back and talk about some new things you're doing this year to stay in touch with parents and families and a lot of those things. I know you're very active on the socials. How do folks follow along?
Yeah, so our district website is there, but I've got Mr. Peck CJHS on Instagram. We definitely post a couple of times a week, and then our Facebook page, which is CJHS Maroon Pride. That one's pretty active. Miss Vogel, our art teacher, runs that and gets those posts all out, and she does a really good job of getting some daily things out there for everybody.
Very good. Nice. Very good. Well, on that note, Mr. Peck, let's take a break, come back with some more. Again, Mr. Jim Peck is the principal of Clinton Junior High School. My guest in studio this morning. More to come with Mr. Peck on the WHOW Morning Show.
WHOW.
The Illinois Emergency Management Agency has designated WHOW's many platforms on AM and FM, as well as WEZC 95.9 FM, as standby radio stations for emergency messages to be sent for severe weather, as well as for the Clinton Power Station. We also have a direct link to the National Weather Service for watches or warnings to air immediately when they're issued. Keep yourself and your family safe by tuning into the WHOW platforms on AM, FM, or streamed online, as well as on WEZC 95.9 FM.
Don't let a summer sniffle turn into a summer setback. Whether it's a cold cough, rash, scrape, bug bite, or minor injury, Warner Hospital's walk-in clinic has you covered. No appointment necessary. Just walk in and be seen by our caring medical team. Fast, convenient care. Close to home means less time waiting, more time enjoying summer. Warner Hospital Walk-in Clinic. Right here when you need us.
WHOW is Central Illinois' ag station, and that includes providing farmers information on how the commodity markets close each day and week. I'm Todd Gleason from Illinois Public Media, University of Illinois Extension, inviting you to hear the daily closing market report weekday afternoons at 5:06, and on Saturdays, tune in for Commodity Week with a review of the week's markets at 8:30 in the morning, all on WHOW, AM, FM, and streamed online.
SIU Center for Family Medicine is here to help with back to school and sports physicals. Healthy kids learn better and play harder. Call 217-735-2317 today to schedule your appointment. That's 217-735-2317. SIU Medicine, forward for you.
DeWittDailyNews.com is the area's leading local news source 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Get the latest local news, obituaries, police splatter, weather forecast, and more with no paywall. Head to DeWittDailyNews.com to get the local information you need to know.
Your friend in Central Illinois. WHOW.
Once again, a good morning. Thanks for being with us. I'm your host today, Seth Lawrence. The WHOW Morning Show streams to Facebook and YouTube, brought to you by Peterson Insurance, your Pekin Insurance agent in Clinton. My guest in studio today is Mr. Jim Peck. He is the principal of Clinton Junior High School. Mr. Peck, we were talking in the break, and I got this email last week because obviously I've got a kid in your building this year. Trying to make parents aware of attendance figures for kids. What's going on here? What are you guys trying to do?
So this will be our first year trialing it. And really our effort is to make sure families are aware each week kind of where their student stands for student attendance. I think parents are definitely aware when their kids are missing. They do a really good job of calling them in, but I think sometimes those absences can kind of sneak up on you, especially if a kid is sick. Sometimes there's unforeseen circumstances. Sometimes it is a struggle to get a kid to get up and get to school. And one day can turn into many really fast. And so one thing that we really brainstormed this last year with our leadership team was, how can we partner? And this is just one of those steps, figuring out a way for parents to see weekly where their students stand. And sometimes an automatic email can open up the door to conversation. A parent might see that and go, okay, I need to communicate with the school. This is what's going on. This is what help we need. We know those conversations happen. And so just another avenue to start that conversation with parents.
For sure.
So.
For sure. Talk a little bit about the importance of attendance, why that matters so much.
I think hopefully we all agree that students being in school and in the building is the best way to learn. I know that kind of got convoluted a little bit in the few years that we had the COVID concerns and students in and out of the building, but I think everybody would agree that being there is important. And as we were talking in the break, one day can turn to many really quickly. And when you start to miss 15, 20, 25 days, that's 4 to 5 school weeks of instruction. And when you have 9-week quarters and, 36 or so in all, when you go through the year, 5-6 weeks adding up, that can take out almost a whole, half of a quarter, a big chunk. We have had that, that is few and far between, but we do have those situations. And so just that encouragement, the communication part of things, it's really where we want to hit this year, is making sure parents are aware. And then that we're helping to partner on how to work through those barriers that are happening.
And you made a really good point, in the break. You said, parents know when their kids are missing. They know they're in school, but sometimes the days that they miss, even if it's just 1 or 2 a quarter, that still stacks up at the end of the school year.
They can. I think what happens sometimes is 1 a week doesn't feel big because, we went 4 days this week. But when you add that up as you go through, if you do 1 a week, that might be 8 or 9 a quarter. And then you multiply that by 4 and now you're talking about missing a huge part of instruction. And so I deal with it with my own. I've got a 4th grader who every day this morning, I think I have a fever. You don't. Well, let's check anyways. So I know, as kids get older, they sometimes need that little extra push. They need to learn those priorities. They need support from home to do that. And they need support from us when we know that it's a struggle. And so that's our hope, is that we can kind of build that communication in weekly and then help those that are having some barriers to get here.
Gotcha. So I guess with that said, Mr. Peck, with this email that's going to be going out, what's going to be in the contents of it? How often is it going out? What can parents expect?
We're looking to send them once a week. Not quite sure on the day yet, so we're working still on that process. When you do an auto-generated email from Skyward, you want to make sure that the information is correct. And so we've been working through that because we haven't done this before. We want to make sure that you get your students' email, your students' data, and not somebody else's. We talked a little bit about maybe just sending a generalized email out each week, but we felt like those accurate stats of kind of where your student is really important. So we're just narrowing down to make sure that is good. Mrs. Witz has been working with our tech department and Eric Behringer to make sure that looks good. And so we're hoping we're able to send one out either this week or next week to kind of get that started.
All right, very good. So be on the lookout for that then. Awesome, very good. Again, Mr. Jim Peck is the principal of Clinton Junior High School, our guest in studio for this morning. As we wrap up today, Mr. Peck, anything else new in your building or you guys are trying out this year?
I would say the big thing for us, our math department the last 2 years has worked through kind of their scope and sequence and matching up what they're doing in class with the Illinois State Learning Standards, kind of looking at all the resources and materials, and last year came to the decision as a team that we did want to move towards a more kind of structured curriculum that everybody was using. So this year we're moving to that. And really, as kids have gotten iPads this week, they're starting to jump into that. So I was in some math classrooms yesterday, seeing some really cool things. And I would say that's the kind of the big new thing this year that all of our students will experience.
Did I see that students are or have met with Officer Mayer about some things?
Yeah, our 6th graders last year, Officer Mayer kind of came up to me and our health teacher, Mr. Rudolph, and asked about possibility of him coming into classrooms with our 6th graders who take our health classes each year to talk just about some of the things that you don't really think about as you're growing up, but that can become serious really quickly. And so he calls it Aware with Mayor, which I thought was great, great name, and really goes through, as you get into junior high, you're going to experience things with your peers, whether that's, people asking you to do things that you don't want to do, or you might notice something that might be dangerous, or you might hear about something and you don't know it's true. So is it okay to go say that thing, or does that actually hurt a situation more? And he also wants kids to know kind of there are some legal things out there, when you are walking to and from school, not what can you do to get in trouble, but he wants kids to understand that there are repercussions to things that we choose to do, especially as we get older. So it's just kind of that introduction to that for our students, and it's been good feedback on that so far. The last 2 years.
I want to ask with the cell phone ban in schools now, that has to really mitigate a lot of problems. You would think.
We've been ahead of it. We started it in 2021. For us, it's been the best thing that we've done. I know there are some concerns that if there's an emergency or there's a situation that not having cell phones can be a problem. I always try to encourage parents that all of our teachers do. We all have a way to communicate out what is needed, and having 400 cell phones in a building when there might be a crisis can actually make that not flow very well. That was one thing that I talked with Chief Flowers and Officer Bennett when we put this in, and I've talked with Officer Mayer more too, and that's kind of their vision of that too, is that letting the professionals get in and do the work that they need to do if there is a crisis. It's important to have those airwaves free, but also just the learning environment itself has been impacted in such a positive way. Our kids are great about it. The 8:05 bell rings, they go in their locker. We have very little issues throughout the day with them. So it's
very good.
Move.
Mr. Peck, it's always good to talk to you, my friend. Thanks for coming out and talking with us. Yeah, for sure. Again, Mr. Jim Peck is the principal. By the way, I want to one more time have you throw out very quickly how folks follow you.
So they can go to Instagram page, CJHS Mr. Peck, or they can head to our Facebook page. That's CJHS Maroon Pride.
Very good. Again, thank you, sir. Appreciate you coming out. Mr. Jim Peck, principal of Clinton Junior High School, our guest in studio this morning. The morning show streams to Facebook and YouTube, brought to you by Peterson Insurance, your Pekin Insurance agent in Clinton. Network News is next.
WHOW.